Also with us here in the studio this morning, CBS News Chief Washington correspondent and host of Face the Nation, Bob Schieffer. Bob, always nice to have you with us.
Good morning to you.
We just heard from Senator Bennett, which in many ways, he kind of sounded like a lot of the American people, saying he seems really fed up with the way things are going, and they're not going to get anything comprehensive done, he said, in the next 4 days. We've talked about how divisive Washington is right now. Let's look really quickly, though, at the Republican Party. How fractured is it on this Friday morning as they try to get something done?
Well, it can't get enough votes together to pass its own bill. The leader of the House Republicans is John Boehner. He went to the floor yesterday with this bill. This was the Republican bill. And about 6 o'clock last night, and this was about 10 minutes before the vote was to start, they pulled the bill down. They said, well, we've got to go back into conference, which means they didn't have the bills. I mean, this is enormously embarrassing for the Speaker when he can't bring his own people along. I mean, it almost raises a question, is he going to be able to survive this? But where are we right now? We're this far. If Republicans can't pass their version of a bill, what do you think they're going to do when a Democratic version of a bill gets there? We're not back to square one. We're back behind square one and in a hole below square one.
-3 right now.
And especially you hear Bennett and you hear your explanation. I mean, how the markets are going to respond today is yet another question. Down 500 points just this week alone. Let me get back to Speaker Boehner. And you brought it up. Can he survive something like this? I mean, it really looks as though there are factions of his party that are really making him look foolish right now.
Well, and not embarrassed to do that. That's the part. I don't know if he can survive or not, but I mean, this is a real setback for him and a real setback for the leadership.
And it's also a glimpse into how things have changed in Washington, and a lot of that change has come about with this new freshman crop. Not exactly, though, maybe the change that some folks were imagining when these people talked about change when they were running for election. The Tea Party is a very important part of this division within the Republican Party.
But, you know, and that's absolutely right, Erica. But, you know, what they're telling me is that this goes beyond the Tea Party. There are some old-line conservatives that just want more than the leaders have been willing to give them. They want deeper spending cuts. The reason that wasn't in this bill is the leadership knew they couldn't pass anything. They thought this was the best they can do, and even this is not good enough. So it's just a mess. I mean, there's no other way to get around it.
Larry Summers, who was on our program about 2 weeks ago, compared this to not meeting this deadline to financial Armageddon. Are both members of, are members of the Republican Party, are they willing to sit back and allow this to happen? And again, I hate to bring it back to the market, but it's what affects the American people. They're seeing their 401ks, they're seeing their personal wealth dwindle with what's going on.
You know,
willing to sacrifice that?
One would hope not, but here we are, and I mean, there's no question now that's where we're headed. And as you just said, Chris, we see what the markets have done already. We're in uncharted territory right now, and that's the dangerous part about all this. You and I were talking about this earlier this week, Erica. It's not the leaders. The leaders are ready to deal. Yeah. It's the followers, and they can't get anybody to follow them. Yeah, so, I mean, this is just
there's someone close to a compromise.
Yeah.
It could be, at least.
Dangerous, and for the American people, as you pointed out, it is frightening. And we should say we're talking a lot about the Republicans this morning, but a lot of talk, too, about whether or not Democrats are any more united. And it seems like we'll have a few days to keep talking about it.
Okay.
Bob, thanks.
Thank you.